Hello.
Hey man, what are you doing?
Just working on this week's vid.
Oh yeah? Another studio one?
Yeah. New Studio One. Where else am I going to go?
I don't know, I heard you got a bunch of blowback from that.
I did. A few people have said something.
Well, so why don't you do something a little different?
I don't know. What am I going to do?
Well, you could go out for a ride, see if something comes to you.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe that is the best thing to do.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I'm going right now. Cut me some slack, jeez. I'll give you a call when I get out there. All right, I'm back out on the road. I am on my way to Atlanta, freezing to death because I didn't dress for the weather, expecting it to be more like 65 or 70, and it ends up being 50. So if my voice is shaking, there's a reason why. But today we're going to be talking about 3 things that new riders need to know before they hit the road. I've been thinking about it while I was on the road, and these are things that as a new rider, I don't know that I would have grasped well, and may not have even thought of to begin with. So I'd like to get this out to new riders, anybody who's just starting to ride, whether that's ADV, street bike, maybe even dirt bikes, but definitely folks that are new to riding. These are things that are good to keep in your head, to keep you safe, to just keep you ahead of the game and upright as much as possible on those first rides. Okay, first off, as soon as you start packing up your bike, and whether that's just a simple backpack on your back, whether that's adding luggage and gear like this, if it's just a tail bag, a tank bag, anything extra that you're adding to that bike is going to make it heavier and a little bit more cumbersome. Now, we all learn on essentially naked bikes, really clean, slick bikes, things that are as easy to maneuver as possible, and then we start adding stuff to it. And if you're not used to that weight, if you're not used to the way that it's going to move on you or how it's going to change your braking and your acceleration and all those different things, that's something to keep in mind, something to be aware of, especially as you start packing more and more. I'm talking to you ADVers out there. I know that I routinely put 30 to 70 pounds of extra gear on my bike without even thinking about it, especially for the longer trips. And inevitably that creates some big time differences in the balance of the bike, in my control of the bike, and how heavy it's going to be if I end up leaning it a little bit too far one way or the other. All of those things are huge factors in your ride, and if you're not aware of it right off the bat, it can mean a dropped bike, it can mean cornering too hard, it can mean not giving yourself enough room to brake, not obviously being able to accelerate nearly as fast. All of those different things can change significantly with the addition of that added weight. So be aware of it, recognize where that weight is, try and get it as low as possible, as forward as possible, so that you don't have some of the bigger issues that you're going to have with an unyieldy bike. The next one is going to deal with tires and getting used to whatever it is that you've got on the bike. And each time that's going to change. Now, when you get a brand new bike, tires have a little bit of like a film on them that it reacts really weirdly in wet and on slick roads and all sorts of other conditions. So 1, recognize to have a little bit of caution when you're on new tires, period. But 2, recognize that each time you get a new tire, that tire is going to be different from the one that you had from the past. Even if it is the exact same style of tire, there's going to be differences in how it's handling and how it's going to wear down, and all of those different things are going to be factors and something that you want to be cognizant of as you go back out there. Whatever lean you had on a previous tire may or may not be available on the new tire. So recognize to change your riding with that. Change your riding with the conditions, that if you have a street tire that's made for all weather, that's going to react very differently in rain than a knobby ADV tire that's brand new. Those are going to be completely different circumstances for essentially the exact same sort of weather. And as a new rider, you have to be very cognizant of that. Otherwise, you'll end up low siding out underneath something or just driving beyond your tire in whatever conditions that they're in. So recognize the tires that you have, be very cautious anytime you're on a new tire to kind of like feel it out as though it's a brand new thing to you. It's a brand new experience. Get back to that beginning rider where you were just cautious all the time on a new tire until you feel it, you learn it, until it wears in a little bit. I'd say about 150, 200 miles, and then recognize that you have some confidence with that tire and start riding that tire. All right, for our last one, it's probably, I would say, one of the most important is if you're gonna be out on the roads, if you're gonna be out amongst other drivers, other riders, just out on the main highways and back roads and side roads and all that stuff, if you're gonna be out there, you have to recognize that things are gonna happen. There are gonna be people that try to merge into you. There are gonna be people that pull in front of you, that pull too close behind you, that do all sorts of crazy stuff. And you can't lose your mind out there, because the minute that you are distracted by the driver next to you, you're not paying attention to the driver in front of you, and vice versa. And the minute that you allow that anger or that desire to teach them a lesson and to rev your engine or to honk at them or to wave your fist or make what other sort of unseemly gestures, you're not paying attention to what's in front of you and what's going on. And you're putting yourself in a whole host of other dangerous situations, which ultimately are far more important than being angry at the person next to you. Coupled with that is also just that anger is not a good emotion to have while you're out riding. It's gonna lead you to make moves that you shouldn't do, probably move more aggressive than you should be. And these are all things that are significant detriments to your long-term riding capability. So as a new rider, just understand that it's going to happen. Be aware of it, try to account for it as much as possible. But when it does happen, you have to allow it to happen. You know, if somebody's going to merge into you, worry about where your escape path is. If you're going to accelerate through, if you're going to decelerate and get behind them, make that happen. Don't try to own your lane and move them out. Don't physically hit their vehicle or make some outrageous move so that you can get up to their window and scream at them or touch their car or anything. Like, just drive so that you can keep that cushion around you as best as possible. Ride so that you are always aware and always keeping your eye out for that next big obstacle, because the minute that you let whatever's happening next to you or around you affect your overall demeanor or your overall awareness is when the really, really bad stuff starts happening. So keep focused on what's ahead of you, keep focused on where you're going, and the best place that you can go for escape routes, for drivable paths, for even just your emotional well-being. Just find ways to stay as relaxed as possible out there, keeping your ride as safe as possible, and recognize that those things are going to happen and it's not something that you can lose your mind over. Okay, that's everything I have for you for the 3 things that new riders need to know before they get out on the road. And this deals with ADV riders, street bike riders, all across the board. These are things that are paramount, and I hope that they make sense to you. If you think I'm wrong or you have better ideas, definitely leave a comment down below. If you like what you saw here or want to see anything more from BeGoneForGood, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we upload a new video, and hit that thumbs up. Let us know that you really like this one. I have a lot coming up this week. I've got another video that'll be coming out a little bit later on Friday, and I will be leaving this Thursday to go join Brett Tax down in Georgia for training. I'll be shooting it, I'll be talking to Brett. I'll try to do some live updates and everything. So again, this is the sort of thing you're interested in, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. Those notifications will be going out anytime we go live or anytime I post up a new message, so you can see everything that we're doing with Brett while we're down there. If you have any questions that you want to ask, definitely leave those in the comments as well. I'll see if I can read those and get them to Brett in time to actually make a video about it. Remember, again, the adventure starts with you, up here and in here. Thanks, I'll see you soon.